Today we'll be taking a look at a big developing story with Kevin Owens, The Undertaker, and much more. Let's start things off with the hottest and most talked about topic over the last few days, and that's of course Kevin Owens. WWE may be losing a top star to AEW. That's probably a headline you're becoming used to hearing because that's been happening quite a lot as of late. But the next big WWE superstar now being rumored for a WWE departure is Kevin Owens. This story broke a few days ago and just took over wrestling Twitter. It was reported that Kevin Owens signed a 5-year deal back in 2018, which would have explained his contract expiring in 2023. However, WWE restructured several contracts during the pandemic, and Kevin's contract was allegedly one of the contracts that were restructured, turning it from a 5-year deal to a 4-year deal, and it now expiring in January 2022. So this changes everything. Kevin Owens will be free to go wherever he wants in only a few matter of months. And everyone is assuming that he's done with WWE and is on his way out, most likely to AEW. Kevin Owens has been the one adding more fuel to the fire himself. In a now deleted tweet, Kevin tweeted the coordinates of Mount Rushmore. The significance behind that Mount Rushmore tweet was the name of the stable that included Kevin Owens, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks. Not only that, but Kevin Owens' Twitter location says, "Almost there." Where does there represent? Well, the Young Bucks changed their location to there, teasing the idea that AEW may be the place that Kevin Owens is referring to when he says he's almost there, almost to AEW. Kevin Owens is a former Universal Champion, Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, NXT Champion, and his list of accomplishments just goes on. He's accomplished so much in WWE, but as of late, he hasn't really had any standout feuds or highly featured storylines. Like we saw recently on SmackDown, he's out here doing talk show segments with Logan Paul. Probably not what Kevin Owens envisioned when he first signed with WWE. Everyone is anticipating for Bray Wyatt to be the last final piece for AEW later this fall. But if you have Kevin Owens following right behind him in January, that's going to be another huge signing for AEW. Fans are all very excited about the possibilities that could happen if Kevin was to join AEW. You obviously have the Mount Rushmore reunion. You could even have a reunion with Chris Jericho and continue that relationship from WWE. Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho were even supposed to main event WrestleMania a few years back, but a last-second change made them fall down that WrestleMania card immensely. Jericho has even talked about that situation with that match and how it really made him see the writing on the wall and sort of played a role in his decision to sign with AEW. So, if Kevin Owens joins AEW, who knows? Maybe Kevin and Jericho could main event a pay-per-view for a world title, like they were meant to do all those years ago. Of course, all this comes down to two things. What does Kevin Owens want, and what does WWE want? Does WWE view him as a potential huge loss? Will they go after him and just throw everything at him in order for him to stay? Or will they let him walk if he wants to walk? Then you have to look at what Kevin Owens wants. Does he want to tie himself down for a few more years to WWE? Or does he take off to AEW come January and join his friends and all that fun over there? Telling by Kevin Owens' teasers and the coordinates and that almost there message, that sort of makes it seem like he can't wait to leave. But there's still a lot of time left before that contract expiration, so who knows if he could have a change of heart in those last few months. But as it stands right now, Kevin Owens seems to be the next big loss for WWE. The Undertaker is back, but in a way you didn't see coming. Netflix has just announced that the special interactive film, Escape The Undertaker, is releasing on October 5th. They released this description for the plot. The Undertaker has set a trap for the decorating tag team The New Day at his mansion. What they don't know, the Undertaker's mansion is an extreme haunted house, packed to the brim with supernatural challenges. It's up to viewers to decide the fate of these three poor souls trying to survive the wrath of The Undertaker. That's all the details that have been released on the film. There were a few still images also released that shows The Undertaker sitting at what seems to be the surveillance room of his haunted mansion. The room is full of camera screens, showing that The Undertaker has his eyes on the New Day and the entire house at all times. There's also some shots of Taker sitting on the throne that's in the shape of his logo, and another image of him facing off against the New Day. Telling by the plot descriptions in these new preview images, The Undertaker is going to throw a lot of haunted challenges and obstacles at the New Day during their trip to the mansion. It's up to the viewers to decide how this journey turns out for the New Day. Critics also seem to be comparing it to WWE's cinematic matches, saying that it will have similar feels to what we saw WWE do in 2020. This sort of film may not be everyone's cup of tea, but it definitely is pretty cool and an amazing alternative way to keep The Undertaker's character around in the WWE universe. There's no interviews yet on how the project came together and how it was to film, but you just have to assume that Taker himself was probably thrilled to jump back into the character and get this underway. He might be retired from in-ring action, but if this turns out to be a huge success, this may be a great way to keep the iconic character around without him actual wrestling. So, that's the great part here. Undertaker fans, you have a big project to look forward to here for the character. Not to mention how interesting it's going to be to actually see the character's house. 30 years of The Undertaker being a WWE character on screen, but we've never seen where the character lives and what happens at his home. According to this project, he lives in a massive haunted mansion that's full of horrific obstacles that he's in control of. So, just even seeing this house, possible Easter eggs all over the place, all of that is going to be really interesting to take in. Of course, with Netflix being behind it, they probably had a more than decent budget as well, so it's going to be great to see how much detail and attention went into creating the home of the iconic Undertaker. So, we'll be taking a look at that again once it releases next month. CM Punk has had his first official wrestling match in over 7 years, and everyone was watching. Even his wife AJ. AJ took to her Instagram story to show that she was watching the event on her laptop. She posted a picture of CM Punk after the match and said, "That was stressful. You still got it, CM Punk." She also reacted to Bryan Danielson's AEW debut by saying, "Huge pop. Also, if Kane shows up next, I'ma lose it." AJ was obviously making a joke about how all her former love interests were coming over to AEW. You had Punk, Bryan, all she was waiting for was for Kane to be there next. It was really interesting and great to see AJ watching wrestling and reacting to it again. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.